Police have been out in full force today on day 14 of the anti-mandate protest at Parliament. News Talk ZB reporter Nick James joins me from Wellington. Nick, tell us a little bit about the operation that we saw early this morning intended to prevent further growth of the protest.
Yeah, so obviously early this morning police installed these concrete barricades around streets around Parliament where the sort of cars, vans, trucks and other vehicles have sort of been camping out. So they've blocked off areas of those streets obviously to stop the protest from growing any larger. There is an opening in a part of it so that people can sort of get in and out still, but yeah, it's some measures police have taken to stop the growth of the protest that we've seen actually over the past few days, really.
And what was the response like from protesters when this was taking place?
Oh, it was a series of I guess aggression. Really, it was aggression. There was abuse being hurled at police. There was a bit of pushback from some of the protesters. I think there was a real sort of sense of being threatened essentially from the protesters.
Would you say it was sort of creeping towards potentially similar scenes that we saw in the very early days of the protest?
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, that was sort of mirrored in itself with the fact that there were some arrests this morning as well. Obviously not the arrests that we saw that Thursday a couple of weeks ago now, but it was a similar sort of event, though, police have sort of are still taking their approach of, trying to not create as little resistance, I guess, as they possibly can.
And so how has the day panned out since then, and what's the vibe been like?
Well, it's definitely simmered down here throughout the day. Honestly, I've been here for the past couple of hours, and it has been very, very quiet, really, compared to days in the past. There's a few speakers here behind me, a few cheers, but ultimately it's pretty quiet. I mean, the protesters seem pretty subdued, to be honest. Yeah.
And just based on what we saw this morning, is there a feeling that police might be gearing up for some more significant measures in the coming days to try and shut this protest down?
Well, it's hard to say. We also saw some police presence yesterday when there was some threats of a human chain around Parliament, so police upped their presence around Parliament then. But it's hard to say whether there will be more or less police presence. It's a real wait and see. But there has been some escalation, I guess, over the past couple of days. So it is a bit of a game to see what will happen.
And in terms of numbers, we obviously saw the expected increase of protesters over the weekend. Have many of them, from what you can tell, stayed, or has it decreased a little bit today?
It's hard to say whether they've decreased. There's definitely not as many people, I would say, right now in the front lawn as there was yesterday, but there's still so many, vehicles around, and whether they have left or whether they've gone back to their camper vans and trucks around the area, I guess we'll wait and see, whether that's the case or not.
And still no response from government. I know we saw yesterday David Seymour talking a bit about the mandates, engaging a little bit with protesters, but no other ministers have said anything since? No.
The government has sort of remained pretty quiet, which has been their approach throughout this whole sort of protest, really. They sort of remain on the stance that it's a police matter and police are sort of controlling the operation, and they're not really getting involved, essentially.
Thanks, Nick, for that update. You can stay up to date with everything on the protest at nzherald.co.nz and watch the live stream there on Facebook and YouTube with Focus Live. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel to stay up to date with all the latest news from the New Zealand Herald. Click the subscribe button below or check out one of the videos here, and head over to nzherald.co.nz for more details on these stories and more.